It's spring in the inland northwest, and the real estate market here in Spokane and Coeur is heating up. So if you're planning on making any moves in the next 3 to 6 months, you're going to need to know what the facts are without any of the nonsense fluff or clickbait headlines, and that's exactly what you're going to find out in this video. My name is Phil Wells. I'm a real estate agent licensed in Washington and Idaho who likes to keep up to date with the market, and I want you to be as informed as possible too. In this video, we'll start by getting a national picture of what's been happening by looking at pending home sales, mortgage rates as well as mortgage application rates, and national median home prices. We'll then compare and contrast what's been happening nationally with what's happening in our local markets here in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. After that, I have some news articles that cover national and local stories that I want to share with you too. Before we get started, if you are looking at selling in the next 3 to 6 months and you want an agent to discuss a game plan with, maybe one that can help you net more on your home, then please reach out to me. My details will be in the description to this video. Looking first at the most recent data we have for pending home sales, which detail pending home sales from February. Contract signings were up 1.6% on a month-over-month basis from January into February. And the figure we're really interested in, that year-over-year figure, shows contract signings were down 7%. Overall, I'm taking that as good news. Yes, even with a 7% decline in year-over-year pending home sales, the overall trend is up when it comes to pending home sales. Here is what the National Association of Realtors chief economist had to say about this month's home sales. Whilst modest sales growth might not stir excitement, it shows slow and steady progress from the lows of late last year. Ongoing job gains are clearly increasing demand along with more inventory. There will be a steady rise in inventory from recent growth in home building. Additionally, many sellers who delayed listing in the past 2 years will begin to put their homes on the market to move to a different home that better fits their new life circumstances, such as changes in family composition, jobs, commuting patterns, and retirees wanting to be closer to their grandkids. Very, very positive news all round there. What we want to see in real estate is slow, steady, boring growth. We don't want massive peaks and troughs when it comes to real estate. It's also fantastic to see evidence of more inventory coming online. I reported recently we are now short 7.2 million homes across the United States. So while it's going to take a long time to plug that gap, this is positive news to see. Let's move on and look at mortgage rates. Obviously, the majority of people buy a home with the aid of a mortgage, so it's important to understand how expensive that loan is at any given time. Sticking with February for a second so we can really analyze that period in time. Mortgage rates at the start of February were 6.63%, and they rapidly accelerated early in the month, finishing at 7.10%. And we can see that rates today are at 7.07%. So if you were looking at mortgage rates in isolation, the basics of supply and demand would suggest that as mortgage rates increase, pending home sales would decrease. But as we've just seen by looking at this month's pending home sales figures, the opposite is in fact true. So there are buyers out there, and the ones that can afford to buy right now are not holding back. So what about mortgage application rates? This is exactly what it sounds like. We like to understand how many people are actually applying for those mortgages. And the beauty of looking at these figures is that they're reported weekly, not with a 1-month delay like the rest of the figures we've been looking at. So we're able to get a really up-to-date view of what demand is doing. The last 3 weeks have seen mortgage applications decrease very marginally every week. We've seen 0.6% down, 0.7% down, and 1.6% down. But before that, we saw some major 7 to 9% moves upwards that were spurred by the short-lived drop in mortgage rates down towards 6.5%. So while there is a mild pullback currently, these figures do show that there are buyers waiting on the sidelines, waiting to come onto the field when mortgage rates are right for them. So if you're a buyer right now and you can afford a home, and you can afford to buy a home that you actually like, you should seriously consider buying now rather than waiting for the mayhem that will ensue when the Fed rate cuts do finally come. Let's move on and look at the national median home price. National median home prices in February were $412,000, which is up 6.4% on a year-over-year basis. Keep that 6.4% figure in your head for just one moment while I highlight this next point. I know that affordability is a major concern right now. Everything is more expensive. gas, groceries, and wages are not keeping up with inflation. So does it make sense to buy a home right now? Well, according to this graph, the consensus is that mortgage rates will be around 6% by Q1 of 2025 and almost certainly by Q2 of 2025. So in around 1 year from now. Let's run some numbers really quickly. You are buying a $500,000 home with a 10% down payment, and the mortgage rate that you're going to pick up is 7%, which is roughly today's mortgage rates. That is going to cost you around $3,600 a month. Wait 1 year and factor in that 6.4% growth rate in the median home prices that we just looked at before, and you're buying that same home for $532,000, but you're picking up a 6% mortgage rate. The net result is that you are saving money, but you spent $32,000 more on a home to achieve that saving. To add insult to injury, 6% isn't even a good rate. You'll be refinancing that for a 5% rate before too long. It should also not be overlooked that the person that bought when rates were 7%, i.e. right now, also is sat on $32,000 worth of equity by simply not waiting. The math is clear, it doesn't pay to wait. So let's summarize that national picture so we have something to compare Spokane and Coeur d'Alene to. Pending home sales are up mildly in February. Mortgage rates are back up to right around 7%. We have encouraging news that there are buyers waiting on the sidelines as mortgage application rates jumped in a massive way when rates dropped. Median home prices continue to rise. They're currently up 6.5% on a year-over-year basis. So if you're a seller in this market, know that it is not the ideal time to sell. Be under no illusion. But competition is coming back and coming back in a big way. Every quarter of 1% that rates drop, we'll see a steady increased number of buyers entering the market. Don't expect a line around the block just yet or a packed out showing schedule, but it is possible to sell your home, and as we head further towards summer, the competition is really going to start to heat up. And right now, for those best kept homes in the best area, the competition is already there, and I have encountered several multiple offer situations just recently. Let's look at the Spokane market and see how it compares to that national picture we just painted. Sales were down 10.9% on a year-over-year basis. This is a major swing from a 15.9% growth rate that we saw in year-over-year sales only last month. Nevertheless, Spokane is broadly in line with the rest of the nation's year-over-year sales declines of 7%. Median home prices are up 5% on a year-over-year basis to $420,000. Again, broadly in line with the rest of the nation there too. Inventory remains very low here in Spokane and is currently at a 1.7 months worth of supply. This low inventory increases competition among buyers and continues to work in your favor as a potential seller. For buyers, it will likely mean some frustration along the way and the need to shop for longer to find the right place in most cases. New listings are down 4% on a year-over-year basis, so Spokane is moving away from the rest of the nation there this month, both in terms of new listings and overall active listings. That's one factor to watch here in Spokane. But low inventory does tend to be the norm here in Spokane, so I'm not going to treat that as a major course correction just yet. You can see days on market of 9 days. That is down substantially from where it was only 3 months ago when it was 28 days on market. Those numbers don't lie. Homes are selling faster and they're selling for more as we head into the spring and summer selling season. So overall, Spokane is mirroring the rest of the nation as it so often does. So if you're a seller, know that there are buyers out there and you can sell to them. If you're interested in finding out a little bit about what your home's worth and how you can net more by selling with me, my details will be in the description to this video. Now let's look at the Coeur d'Alene market and see how it compares to that picture that we painted before. Actual sales were down 9.1% on a year-over-year basis. Now that comes off the back of an 8.6% year-over-year increase and a 15% year-over-year increase only a couple of months ago. So we are seeing some serious peaks and troughs across the Coeur d'Alene market in terms of sales right now. If we compare the combined first quarter of 2024 to the combined first quarter of 2023, Overall sales are up 4.2% on a year-over-year basis. So that is a healthy growth rate there when taken as a whole, but I would like to see those peaks and troughs here in Coeur d'Alene level out and give way to the slow and steady, boring growth that we're starting to see nationally. Median home prices are up very modestly 2.45% to $494,000. This will come as relief to homeowners out there to know that your home is not currently losing value. It is, in fact, continuing to slowly increase in value. Inventory is sat at 1,430 units, which is up 19.8% from this time last year. You can also see that absorption rates, also known as months of supply, is right around 4 months worth of supply, and that trend is going up. Days on market in the Coeur d'Alene area are currently at 106.3 days on market, and that trend is heading downwards. If you're a buyer looking in the Coeur d'Alene market right now, it does feel like there's opportunity out there. Coeur d'Alene and this whole North Idaho area is one of the best places to live in the entire nation, and not everyone is going to be willing to wait nearly 4 months to find out whether or not their home sells. They may be open to reasonable offers along the way. If you're a seller, then know that we are far from a seller's market here in the Coeur d'Alene area, and you need to be realistic about your list price. And you should also consider reasonable offers along the way. Take a look at this graphic really quick. You can see the difference here between the median list price and the median sales price. It's enormous. If you're curious what your home could actually sell for, not what you could just list it for and hope that it sells, give me a call. I would be happy to sit down with you, review the comps so we can both fully understand what your home is worth and what it's going to sell for. If you're looking for some ways to be productive this spring, ready for a summer list, you could break out the pressure washer, put some annuals in the ground, and really start to tame that lawn. Also take care of those small interior tasks that you know you need to get done. For example, you've got a light switch that's missing a faceplate. Go and get it done. That's going to pay off when it comes time to list. Now I wanted to touch on a few news articles, both nationally and locally, that have stood out to me this month. The biggest piece of news this month continues to be interest rates. Jerome Powell this month kept interest rates exactly where they were, but also indicated that we're likely to see 3 rate cuts this year. How big those cuts will be is anyone's guess at this stage. But within a week of making that statement, he's now quoted as saying that he needs to see more evidence that inflation is easing before cutting rates. Call me crazy, but that doesn't sound like a clear and consistent message coming from the people that control something as important as interest rates. Another major story this month is that the inventory crisis seems to be improving, though it will take a long time to be fully rectified, given that we're over 7 million homes short across the US. As the number of fresh listings continues to grow, home buyers this spring have a wider array of options compared to this time last year. New listings nationally are up 15%, and overall housing suppliers up 5%. But as you can see from this commentary by Bigger Pockets, we're still way under the amount of market inventory. Next up is a little bit of an update from one of my major pet peeves. That is hedge funds owning residential real estate. Representative Adam Smith is quoted this month as saying, "The goal here is to stop hedge funds from owning homes, period." There is a bill working its way through Congress to this effect, and I'll report any developments on that. Now for a little bit of inland Northwest specific news. Spokane's Riverwalk has been nominated as one of the best urban riverwalks in the nation. Other nominees included New York, Miami, San Antonio, and Chicago. So Spokane is a real lightweight contender, punching well above its weight class when compared to the heavyweight cities that are also on the list. Now, I know as well as you do that downtown Spokane has a problem with crime and homelessness. We can all see that, but no one can deny that the infrastructure that's in place down there on Riverfront Park is absolutely beautiful. Next up, another major road arterial here in Spokane is nearing completion. This time it's connecting North Spokane to Spokane Valley. If you haven't driven on this road, you absolutely should. When heading east, you can get some absolutely beautiful views. Lastly, and I try not to voice strong opinions on these market updates, I just try to give you the facts and let you decide, but a serious blight on our community seems to be going away. Yes, the insufferable and endlessly annoying Lime scooters will no longer be here, though ominously it is reported that they may be back. I've tripped over these damn things, I've had to move them from my yard where they've been dumped, and I've had to move them out the way to get my truck out of a parking spot before. I'll be glad to see these two-wheeled nuisances go away once and for all, so this is great news from my perspective. That's it for this video. I hope you gained from the video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. That really does help me out. If you are looking at buying or selling in the near future, please reach out to me. My details are in the description to this video. Like I said, my name is Phil Wells, and thank you for watching.